You are now listening to the sounds of Milkcrates Microphones.
So joining us now, he is somebody that's been in the music industry, making music for 25 plus years. He's got projects all over the map, a very large discography, and a lot of tracks that you probably heard him feature on and produce. He's a producer, MC, and somebody that we've looked up to for a long time. Everybody give it up for Rob Sonnet.
Hell yeah, hell yeah.
Thank you for having me, guys.
Hey, thanks for joining us. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yo, coming from Bronx, how was it growing up in Bronx? Were you born there and raised there, or did you move there at a young age?
No, I just that's just sort of where I lived the longest. But I'm originally from D.C.
Yeah, a lot of people, Wiki says DC. Some people say different. So I just wanted to clarify what that was, because we had some misinformation over here between me and this man saying where you were from. Okay. We got to clear that up. But besides that.
No, I'm from D.C. originally. I was born in D.C. and raised in the DMV, and then moved up to the Bronx when I was a teenager.
How was it moving up to the Bronx as a teenager and making that transition from D.C.? Was it very much different from how it was in D.C.?
Not really. I was sort of in the same scene. It was just a scene thing. I moved up there from friends that I knew. I had been going to New York my whole life. Like I had family up there, and so it wasn't any different, except for, I guess the pace was a little different.
Yeah. When you moved to the Bronx in New York at that time, did you notice, was there anything that caught your eye? Was music any more changing for you when you moved that way? You're like, oh, it opened you up to a different, or were you already exposed to that from traveling back and forth?
Yeah, no, well, I was already I've been into hip hop since I was 11.
Wow.
Nice.
It's a long time.
So I was there at the beginning when rap wasn't played on the radio, and you had to do a lot of searching to hear it. You would hear it for like an hour on shows, and no matter where it was. So in New York, it was like, BLS and Kiss and Red Alert and Chuck Chill Out. And you could get those tapes from people,
Yeah, tape trading.
And that's, so I'm with it from then, from the early stages of it. So, I was pretty well versed in how things were going up there.
Did you have a friend or a family member turn you on to hip hop, or did you stumble on it on your own, or how did you find it?
My brother.
Okay.
My older brother. My brother's about 6 or 7 years older than me, so he got into it really briefly though. Like he got into it really briefly, and then I was just like, no, this is everything to me.
Yeah.
Like when I heard Play at Your Own Risk and
hard.
Planet Rock,
Were you breaking at that time to that?
Oh yeah. No, see that's the thing. Like I didn't get into. It was before rapping. There was like only a handful. It was all singles. Rap was all singles. So it was more electronic stuff.
Yeah, as a child, I remember my dad was super into Planet Rock and Play at Your Own Risk, because he was always breaking, and they always were taping each other and stuff like that. He had all these videos when I was little.
The Soul Sonic Force, and then it was a different kind of thing. It was mostly for breaking. You know what I'm saying? At the beginning, it was dance music, and then there was emceeing and stuff like that. But it was like that was really, really embedded in New York and in the very early stages of it.
I don't want to interrupt, but you think that music was made strictly because they knew they were going to break to it, or who figured that out? You know what I mean? That goes with that.
I mean, it was just the 80s, man.
Yeah.
It was the 80s, and synthesizers had sort of come on the scene and gained popularity, and the creativity of what dudes were able to do with that without needing a band or a whole thing to get into music is sort of the root of how hip hop started. I mean, it started with turntablism, but the music side of it, of course. There was like elements like graph and things like that. So the art, I tried everything. You know what I'm saying? I tried everything when I was a kid, and I sucked at everything except rap.
Yeah. You were
Yeah.
you were in the heart of, I mean, the growth of hip hop and it being East Coast and being in the Bronx at that in your teenager years and even in DC at the time. I mean, there's a lot of hip hop being born right there. Who was the first? Who was the first person that you saw rapping because you were exposed to breakdancing and everything else? Who was the first person you saw, like, in your friend group or at high school? Was there somebody that was rapping that you were like, oh shit, I can do that just like that?
Yeah, we all did in middle school.
Okay.
I started writing raps when I was 11. So, you know, that was, you know, I think we started battling for like lunch money and shit.
That's tough.
Yeah, like me and all the people in my class who are in my A-likes, we just started battling for money, and then, you know, just little like $2 here and there, but you know, everybody would, you know, chip in, and whoever was nice, and that came out of break battles too.
That was like your real first taste of, man, people actually think I can do this, and I'm gonna actually do this.
Yeah, I got a good response.
That's sick.
I mean, it was different out there. White people weren't rapping back.
Yeah, I could imagine. It's probably really different.
Yeah.
You're not only a talented MC, but you're a very talented producer. I mean, who are some of those early producers that you heard that, you know, kind of inspired you to want to start producing? You talked about those synthesizing type sounds. I mean, was it those that picked up into your ears, or who was it that you heard?
Yeah, probably early on it was like Mantronics, and then obviously Soul Sonic Force, and then Kraftwerk. Art of Noise. Those groups, you know, they weren't necessarily Malcolm McLaren, but I don't know. There's like stories. You know, later on I found out maybe Malcolm McLaren didn't have a big hand in, you know, like shit like Buffalo Girls and shit like that. I don't know. Yeah. But yeah, that early on stuff, and then there was some fusion with like some punk, maybe some punk rock. And, you know, like maybe the Sex Pistols a little bit, and, you know, Clash. And then I guess then it became like a thing where hip hop really started to get big in like '88, and that's a whole nother story. Yeah.
You didn't start really heavily producing until kind of later in your kind of music making career, right?
Yeah, I didn't start making my own beats until, I guess, Def JUX stuff. Okay. Or while I was preparing to put out my first Def JUX record is when I started really getting into producing, because I was always produced by TME Production.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because didn't you have a song you produced on one of the Sonic Sum albums?
Yeah, I had like those are the first incarnations of my beats.
Going back,
where those it was like Rocket, and Circuit Breaker, and Negatives, I think, were like the first ones. But I think maybe Rocket was the first beat I actually made fully.
Damn, and that made an album.
It did. I played it for L, actually, before I was signed to Def JUX, because I knew L from Ozone. And then I played it for L, and he was like, damn, this is crazy. Yeah. And I was like, oh, all right.
Going back to that,
I know what I'm doing.
to the Sonic Sum little group that you had. How did that come about, and how'd you meet those guys, and you guys start making music together? And what was that kind of journey? That was kind of your first dive into kind of making music on a major, not a major label, but on a major kind of level.
Professional.
Yeah, on a professional level. Exactly. There it is.
The first professional releases were Sonic Sum stuff.
Yeah.
It was just crew. It was like graffiti guys and just, you know, just culture dudes. And, you know, it spanned from down in MD to NY and everywhere in between, you know. And then Fred was part of that, and my man O, who had been producing with me before that stuff. There's stuff that'll never see the light of day that I did before Sonic Sum, but it's not really that good.
On the Sonic Sum album, though, it sounds like what you're looking for. Like if you in like the sense of a hip hop head, you just
Super
know,
hip hop, yeah.
You just know right away when it comes on. You're like, you want to ask. Like if you're that guy that hasn't heard it before and someone has it on, you don't want to be that guy that asks, "Hey, what is that?" But it makes you want to ask, "Hey, what is that?" And that's how you know you got good shit.
Yeah, with the Sonic Sun was sort of a that sort of evolved out of the times. Like the times that I wasn't really like this. I wasn't like this jiggy guy because that was huge. That was like coming into New York, and there was this sort of weird like imbalance between what hip hop was and what it was evolving into, and then sort of what it became, and it was a little foreign to a lot of us. Mm-hmm. So Sonic Sun was just sort of, I don't want to say I purposely did it like that. So, but it was just, I just wanted to be more creative than what was happening. And I felt like that was paying respects to the genre.
That shit sounds organic as fuck. So if you tried to do that, I mean, you can't even tell, dude. It sounds so organic, it's crazy.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. Thank you.
It's the counter music to the counterculture.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Yeah. It was wild time, because it went from like everybody wearing like Timbs and goose downs and baggy jeans to like this next level like fancy shit. Yeah, and it was crazy. A lot of people in a lot of heads in New York reacted with some friction to that.
Baggy suits, man. Fools were wearing the baggy suits. It was insane. It was insane.
Yeah, that was a thing.
Yeah, dude.
For a while.
Yeah.
Were you?
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm saying. It's like it's this thing has been progressing very, and there's different pockets of time, and that's sort of what I try to do because I've been in it so long that I just sort of try and stay with the times, I guess.
Yeah, hip hop has evolved like a life source over the years, and it's gonna continue to grow. It's got a mind of its own in some aspect.
You can't put it in a circle no more. Yeah.
Hopefully, and there's some aspects of it that are always going to be about the business, and then there's going to be people that are doing this because they truly love, and that is their way to create.
Definitely.
And
there's a fine spot right in between all that, right? Where it's business and art. You can kind of get both.
Yeah, I mean, there's some people that have been successful and not had to sort of do one or the other, but yeah, for the most part, there's a lot of the stuff is separated between because it's such a big business now,
Definitely.
Where it's not like there was like Run DMC was Run DMC, but they were superstars, or Houdini was like superstars. They were still Houdini because there was nothing else. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There wasn't a different kind of like, oh well, this is pop or this is just rap music, and it became popular. I'm not sure. I don't know if anybody knew it was going to become what it did. But
the crazy thing is, though, when I look back and I hear it still, like I'll bump Houdini every now and then. My mom was a huge Houdini fan, though. When I was young, those are my parents' music. But
that was stars back then.
I didn't consider that hip hop. I didn't know what that was. I just thought it was breakdance music, like you're saying. Like I thought that was its own thing. But looking back now, knowing what I know now, breakdance is one element of hip hop. But in general, though, I didn't even think that those two went hand in hand. You know what I mean? As a young kid, I had no idea they were even the same.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean that's the whole thing. It's like that first Houdini record or Escape, maybe. Yeah, I guess Escape or whatever it was. But it had so many like successful songs on it that was probably the first instance of. And I was just, shout out my man Kevin Beecham, who just mentioned this online. It's not really ever looked at as the record where it was like the first, like classic hip hop record,
Yeah.
It crossed over
that Houdini, which is dope.
Going back to Sonic Sun, were you Rob Sonic back then, or did you kind of evolve into Rob Sonic from the group?
Yeah. The name, I think back then I was just going by Rob Smith.
Okay.
Because that's my government, and I didn't want to put any like fancy names on anything. When I was doing the Sonic Sun stuff, I just wanted it to be more like more of an event of who I was and what I had to offer. And so I stripped down everything, because I come from more of a cypher kind of a rapper kind of guy. And then I started doing this stuff that was a little bit different. And shout out Mike Ladd. I met Mike Ladd sort of in the progression of that. And he put me on to a lot of poetry stuff and a lot of shit I didn't even know existed. And it wasn't just all this thug shit or this, jiggy shit. It was like, people just kind of being regular.
Your lyrics are very, very much poetic, you're yourself. So, I mean, is that where you get that from, kind of being introduced to that poetry style and falling in love with that?
Yeah. I mean, I always I listened to a lot of jazz music for some years. And so by default, when you're listening to a lot of stuff like that, you get more in depth with the artists. And that's a massively creative field of music. And so that kind of thing where I was sort of delving in and just sort of absorbing all these different things coming of age was that's kind of like what Sonic Sum was I was like trying to find myself, and it ended up being okay. Yeah. Good enough for Bobito to play.
Yeah, that's for sure. I was gonna say that too. How was that being a young kid and being able to hear your shit on what was crazy at the time? I've heard you say it's definitely once you hear yourself on there, you're getting the pass. You're
game
getting
changer.
You're getting kind of
So
how was that?
Yeah, the recognition.
Yeah, it was insane. I didn't actually hear it when it aired. But when I heard it was on KCR and on the Stretch and Bob, I don't know if it was still Stretch and Bob at that time. It might have just been Bob and Sear, but they played Downtown Maze, and I heard about it from being out. Like I was going out, hanging out, drinking all the time because I was a big drinker, and heads were just coming up to me like, yo, I heard your shit on KCR. I heard your shit on Bob. And I was like, oh, that's crazy. I didn't know that. And then, it was sort of, I don't think people really understand what that show was outside of New York. Like if you weren't in New York, you don't understand how important that show was. Yeah. The KCR show was crazy. And just to be played on there was like everything for me.
Was
everything.
Was your phone ringing off the hook after that?
No, this was before cell phones.
No, the house phone. Was the house phone going crazy beeper. After this? Yeah.
The beeper was going.
I didn't give my phone number out.
Oh, for sure. I wasn't sure if the house phone was going crazy. I was like, I had to be going crazy.
We're in California, so I don't think I realized the magnitude of that show until I started. I seen a documentary, and then also then that kind of clicked with looking back at old YouTube videos of people going on and freestyling on the show, and you're like, oh yeah, damn, I remember seeing this person on that show, and so you realize, damn, that's a big that was a big part of if you were playing a show in New York, you were going to stop by that Stretch and Bobby if you were lucky enough to be invited.
Yeah,
in.
for sure. It was a ticket spot.
I guess the was the Wake Up show like that.
Yeah, out here, on the West Coast, we had Sway in the Wake Up show, so that's kind of that's what I kind of not knowing about it and then hearing about it, you can kind of put those together and be like, okay, that's what that is to the East Coast.
To check it in
on an earlier level,
Yo, you mentioned LP earlier, and how long ago did you meet him? Were you in Sonic Sum at the time, or was it before Sonic Sum even was created that you knew LP?
Yeah, I knew. I used to see him at Ozone Entertainment. So Ozone Entertainment was like this sort of. It was a studio / indie label / management stuff, and I would always be down there recording, and I met him once, and he was a cool dude, and I was like, damn, bro, and I would kick ideas with him, and play stuff for him when I would see him and stuff. This was well before Def Jux.
Yeah.
So that was just a natural fit once you kind of went out and started doing solo stuff to kind of go with that with Def JUX and go with LP.
Well, I was managed by Amici, who's like he's the guy, he's the man. Yeah. So he managed me and Sonic Sum for a little while, and Sonic Sum was originally me and my other rap partner, but he passed away in the middle of all that, and Meech was like, yeah, I'll take you guys on and see what we can do, and didn't really go anywhere with Sonic Sum. It was we released a good the first record did I, and then the second one was like more sort of slept on a little bit, I think.
I want to get into your debut album, Telicatessen, man, which is a hip-hop classic, bro. 20-year anniversary coming up in September of this year. It's amazing that 20 years ago this classic was created. The beats are amazing, man, and I think ahead of its time even. I just want to know, like, how was it creating that, and what do you remember about making that album?
Not much. I was drunk that entire time, but I think I started building up a nice synthesizer collection at the time, and I didn't really know necessarily. I didn't come from like a musicianship background necessarily. I was just more of a rapper, but I knew what I wanted to rap over, and I did want to pay attention to the minimalistic styles of music that had sort of, I don't know what it was. I don't know if I was necessarily like pushing back against sampling at the time, because I played a lot of that stuff straight through. Yeah. And, drums obviously were samples, but I just think that it just sort of went the way it went without any rhyme or reason. And then that became sort of a good foundation for me to go other places with later on.
When you go back and you have the chance to hear it, you hear it back and you're on yourself in your own free time, are you like, it's hard to hear, or are you happy that you made that? Or are you real critical?
Some of them are. Some of the beats are, but I think for the most part it's very, it's sort of a time capsule of where I was at. So
how far you've come or whatnot.
I'm okay. Yeah, I'm comfortable with everything I put out.
Yeah, it's super fucking hard.
Well, it's a super cohesive album as well, too. You can tell that you kind of pieced it together like you did. Every song on that album?
Yes. On that one, I did everything.
Okay. And that was your debut album, so that's the first time you were doing that.
Yes.
Diving straight in.
Was that album made specifically for Def JUX, or did you create that before you got on to Def JUX?
No, that was specifically for Def JUX, and so, all that, because I mean that's really the only like lengthy signing I ever had, because I mean I had like I there was like years back when I was just a little stupid, cypher rapper or battle rapper or whatever, that like Sony was talking to me for a second, but it wasn't anything real.
Yeah,
and it was not okay. Like dudes were telling me to do all types of shit, and I was just like, I don't know, I don't really feel like this is
Has the process changed a lot over the years of how the way you make music, or is it kind of strictly the same way? You chill out, you have a certain way of doing it, or is it just a lot easier now? Or I mean, like, how do you look at music nowadays?
No, it's not easier for me.
Yeah.
I'm one of these people that has to work, I gotta really put in the time and effort to come up with stuff. It's not, I see people that make it look so easy, and I'm just like, God damn, man, I'm so jealous.
You're
never easy.
But you could tell by listening to the product that you put a lot of hard work into the creation of it.
That your heart and soul is in it.
It means a lot,
Yeah, definitely.
You're an artist who has a large vocabulary. I can't remember who did the study, but the research study was conducted. They determined, I think, Aesop Rock had the largest vocabulary in hip-hop. You've got to be one of the highest vocabulary rappers as well. I mean, have you always prided yourself on learning new words and expanding your vocabulary and trying to just say things in a different way and not be repetitive?
Yeah. I'm not always good at that. I've probably, referenced similar things throughout my entire career, but I mean, I definitely prided myself on trying to be the nicest, because that was I'm from the lyrical age, where you had to be super nice. Like Rakim was probably my biggest rap influence, and then G-Rap, and those guys are heavyweights with the pen and vocab and shit like that. So
you could tell that you pride yourself in the writing and your writing by just obviously listening your expansive vocabulary, and then also the style of writing. When you sit down to write, do you start at the top of the page and work your way to the bottom, or do you have kind of a punchline, work your way backwards, or 4-bar, 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 4-bar all the way to the end?
It can be whatever. It can be, stuff I wrote on a napkin, or that'll become songs or just good ideas. But for the most part, if I sit down and I'm like, I have sort of an idea in my head, and then I write, I guess top to bottom, but it's not necessary. It never ends up like that. Like I'll stop, like get 6 bars out and then hit a wall and won't come back to that rhyme for 6 months or some shit.
Do you have the beat already going, or are you writing before you produce the beat?
Yeah, I used to not write to beats, actually.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
One of the weird things. With the Sonic Sum stuff, I would get sort of a skeleton from TME, Jean Prez and Fred would give me like whatever they were working on, but it wasn't like I would just get a tape. And then, but I would mostly just be writing. I was just writing. I don't know where they are now, but I probably would fill up on, 2 or 3 notebooks a year.
Wow. When you're producing a beat, like in general, when you're producing a beat, do you just make shit for yourself sometimes? You're like, oh, that's not going to be something I could write to, but I'm liking how this is sounding. And then you got a whole fucking category of, I'm liking how this is sounding.
Yeah, I have stuff. I sometimes, I mean, it's really, I tend to let the music go where it goes before thinking about it as a rapper now, which is weird because it's kind of an evolution. Because the reason I started producing was because I wanted to rhyme over what I heard in my head. And it wasn't that I wasn't necessarily getting fat shit, because I was getting fat shit, but it just wasn't, I wanted to do something different. Yeah. So, that's what started the production. And then I would always make a beat and be like, oh, I like this beat. I'll just, write to it. But now it's sort of more, I'm trying to make instrumental pieces. That's where I've come to it with, of trying to make solid instrumental pieces that don't necessarily need raps on them.
Which is awesome.
And then, that way, when I put my shit on it, lyrics over music are just supposed to make the music more,
enhances it. Yeah,
it's just supposed to make it more interesting, and that's sort of where, that's where I'm at in music, rap, hip hop theory, or wherever.
You let the beat shine so good, you don't have to shine so hard on it.
Yeah, and you're just sort of, you're saying, okay, well, this piece of music is good without necessarily the best, and then if you try and lay the best, then you got yourself, a movement.
A masterpiece.
You got a mood. You're making moods now. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I like that a lot better. Like you said, when you listen to jazz, and it's like it's a mood. It's a vibe. If people who really listen to jazz, it's not sound, it's a vibe.
For sure.
Yeah, we got to get into Hail Mary Mallon, because I mean that whole group there was just super dope. The 2 albums that you guys put out were fucking awesome. When did you first meet Aesop Rock? Was meeting Aesop Rock through Def JUX originally?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. We were at the same stuff for the label a lot, because I was uptown. I was in the Bronx, and a lot of those guys were in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
So I didn't see them all that much, but me and Ace hit it off like early on.
You two just complement each other very well. I mean, when did you guys realize that and first make a track together?
We just really got along. We were just like we just really had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And for early, he asked me for, I think, Winners Take All off of that EP, the Stars, Danger, Fire, and Not.
Yep.
And he was sort of like, moving way up at that point, and he asked me to make a beat for him, and I was definitely honored, but I had never produced for anybody before. So it was kind of scary. You know what I'm saying? I was kind of like, well, I don't, this guy's like, like I see him at like an MTV awards show just recently, but he was cool. He was like my guy.
Yeah.
But it was that's sort of what sparked it, and we worked real well. And
the lyrics, or whether it's the production, it goes well together with whatever Aesop Rock is doing as well. Hail Mary Mallon, you guys put out your first album in 2011. How did this idea for Hail Mary Mallon start? I mean, I didn't know about the story, Mary Mallon, until you guys came out with that album, and I had to look it up. And then, Typhoid Mary, I found out who she was. I mean, how did you guys come up with this idea to create a group, around this story?
We just landed on that. We just landed on it. There were days and days when we first started kicking around the idea of being a group, right? Because we had done these handful of songs together. We did he was featured on my album, and I don't think I was featured on anything of his until we did D-Up. And that was we were still on JUX when D-Up came out. So that was sort of our first that's the first like early stages of whatever the group was going to become.
Yeah.
And it was cool. The early stuff, I listened to it, like even the first record, I listened to it now, and I'm just like, wow, we were kind of all over the place. You could tell we weren't, our chemistry wasn't lined up exactly right until the second one. But, shit, I forgot what you asked. But, yeah, I mean, I think that's more that is a thing, like we just hit it off in the studio, and then I mean, he's a relatively easy guy to work with.
Yeah, I think in a lot of cases, especially when it comes to entertainment or art, when the person that's producing that entertainment or art is having fun doing it, it kind of translates into the art. So it's nice to hear.
Of course.
Yeah, it definitely it's very hard to make music in a sort of a negative space.
Yeah, I caught you guys live. It was you were just accompanying Atmosphere. It was Atmosphere's family tour. It was out in Berkeley at the Greek Theater, famous venue out there. But you and Aesop Rock were just kind of on the card as special guests. But you guys came out and did the whole Hail Mary Mallon stuff, and it was just super fucking awesome to see in person. And I knew it was a rare experience to be witnessing this live.
Dope. That's dope. When was
yeah.
this?
This is 2011, so that was around the same time you guys put out the debut.
Super sick.
Are You Gonna Eat That, right?
Yes.
So, I mean, we got to get a little bit into Typhoid Mary. Who knew about this story? And then whose idea was it to create it into a group? Was that you guys just discovered that together, kind of searching online, or what?
I mean, Typhoid Mary is...
Because she's from New York, too.
That's sort of how everybody knows her. But especially in the Bronx, she's buried at St. Raymond's Cemetery in the Bronx. So, that was cool. And then, she was exiled for a lot of it.
Yeah.
A lot of her sort of goings-ons or whatever, because she didn't want to wash her hands or something.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah, it was the craziest thing. Like this woman took out a bunch of people for just like not being like, nah, because sanitary conditions back then,
dude, you die over a sneeze.
Yeah, you'd be dead. You're 40 years old. You're an old man.
Catch a cold, simple cold, kill you. That's crazy.
Yeah. But she just loved cooking. She was just that was her thing, and
she didn't want to give it up.
Don't wash her hands.
Passion.
Don't wash your hands.
We
but I
both
love
were
cooking.
aware of it, but I think I had I had a little bit more, maybe a little bit more knowledge of that side of the story because of the Bronx, maybe.
That's just crazy to think, though. Like, yeah, she loves cooking, but she won't wash her hands. Man, you better wash your fucking hands, man.
This is well before COVID. There was no COVID back then. Everything was different, man.
There's a lot of worse things going on back then.
You got steak on one hand. Now you're making breakfast. You got little eggs inside. Hash brown. I turn around, I'm gonna make a cake. Like, what's going on
It's
here?
a little flavoring.
You better fucking wash those goddamn hands.
Yo, Bestiary, I mean, that whole album is excellent as well. Those album covers are crazy. Do you remember who did that, or what are those pictures even of? I mean, there's some type of weird creatures.
Pull it
Koro.
up. I want to see one again.
Koro is the mastermind behind all the artwork for Hail Mary Mallon.
Okay.
Justin Koro Kaufman, I think is his full name.
Okay.
But yeah, he's nasty. I think he does the stuff with Ace all the time.
Yeah, there's some crazy creatures that are on the cover, and I think you guys released like 3 or 4 different versions of the album cover, each one being another weird fucking face or whatever they are. Weird creature,
we
weird
made
parasite,
up different characters for
weird
those
parasite
dudes.
or whatever. Yeah, fucking insane.
Looks awesome. It reminds me of like an old school not Kiss, but like a Scorpions, like an '80s band fucking cover. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Koro is just, he knows wherever that guy took all that shit was crazy. I mean, I guess the first one was sort of more like a graphic novel style.
Yeah.
And then the second one was, I mean, that dude is just, every time like art dudes do shit like that, I'm just, because I can't really draw. Yeah. So, and I don't know much about that, but when people are able to do that, I'm just like, holy shit, like you're insane.
Yeah, it's a
You're so much more talented.
Quick, you're like, God damn it, I
Pretty
got
quick,
nothing going on.
Pretty quick, you'll be able to do that though. AI's got up now. You got all this crazy shit. Hit a button, hit a number, type in what you need. You get that picture. It's what's crazy how this technology is moving so fast nowadays.
The creatives are in
everything's changed.
A strange time for anybody that is just sort of not trying to, I don't know, be a crypto bro or something.
Do you fuck with the AI music at all? Are you doing anything that way, leaning that way with that?
No, I stay away from all that stuff. I don't necessarily think that. I mean, I guess, like, I don't know, like, it's weird to me.
Good for you.
I think art is, that sort of the human side of art is what's massively important about art, and how it touches people. And I guess the people that are pushing for that shit are like, yeah, but you can hear fucking a Kurt Cobain version of a Shirley Temple song or whatever.
Tell them what it is. Untalented people are the ones who love it. I feel like the art's like truly
talented. Yeah, that's
talented.
what I'm saying. I don't know where the attack. I sometimes I mention that online. When it first started to become a thing, and people were like, "Yo, watch out, this thing is coming," and I was just like, "Why are they like attacking artists? Like, why is the tech scene like attacking us?"
It's almost
because they can't do it. That's what it is. I feel like they got nothing. They can't do it.
It almost feels targeted, like there's something behind it. Because if you think about the way that
knock out workers,
yeah, and also I feel like art is, such an inspiration into society, and people look at art as an escape in so many ways. So if they can infiltrate that, then
they got everybody.
Shit, they got us all.
Yeah. Once it's not somebody's little secret they can do themselves, everyone can do it. Yeah, then it's not cool no more. Yeah, exactly. I get it.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I don't know what it is. That's how it felt to me. It felt to me sort of like, like, why are these guys coming at artists? Mm-hmm. Right. And they'll say it's not. They'll say it's just, some. I mean, but come on, that stuff should be for like improving surgery.
Yeah.
Solving cancer. Since they're more better than I guess people can think or extensively work for.
That's very true, man.
Yes.
Could be using that for a better
you.
We can get behind
good for you, because I don't like that shit either. Good for you. We're not fans of that shit either.
Yo,
yeah,
you drop.
I guess that there's some aspects of it where I can see it being really, really beneficial, and then there's some aspect I don't think it has any place in art.
It's fake art, not real. Synthetic art.
Tell me more. Tell me more.
Synthetic. It's not real. Hey, you dropped an album about 3 years ago.
did.
Latrinalia.
Yeah.
Is that how you say it? Latrinalia? Because I had to look it up. I didn't know what that.
Yeah.
Latrinalia. I had to look
Yeah.
up the word because I had no idea
What
what
does
it
it mean?
is. That's the thing. Another thing about Rob Sonic, you always have these crazy names for albums or these different words that you either create or just the rare, unique words that you use. You know, that kind of throws people off. You have to look it up. You have to research it a little bit.
So when you looked it up, what does it mean?
It means writing on the shithouse walls. I mean, like writing on the bathroom walls.
It's
That's what it
just-
means,
It's
Latrinalia?
like, bad graffiti
Yeah.
that you see in the stalls, like For a Good Time, call Bobby.
Those are my favorite kinds, though. Aren't they? You like? I
Yeah,
love
when
those. No, I really love that shit.
If you gotta go in public, you want to be able to read something. Right?
Yeah.
It's a great album, and you're still making fire in 2021. I mean, this is pretty neat,
Thank you, man.
pretty recent. I hope it's not the last of what you're putting out, but the album the album is great from start to end. I mean, how does this album differ from your very first album, Telicatessen?
Oh, I think it's just more focused. I think it's more. I understand more about the process now.
Yeah.
I feel like I've been producing so much at this point that I should be able to work my machine so much better. But I can't. So, but I don't know. It's just, like I said, I got to work really hard to make shit that's even good at all.
This album's amazing, man.
It's very kind that you guys are saying these things, and I appreciate it. But at the same time, I'm like, oh my god, I suck.
You're a thug.
Yeah, you got to realize you're in the top like 0.1% of musicians in the world, and
thank you, man.
A lot of us not just look up to you, but strive to be something like that in the music.
Make something like that.
to make something that's gonna last forever.
Yeah, I want everybody to be better. I want everybody. That's what I want.
Nice guy.
I want. If you are inspired by me, I want you to be better than mine.
Good. You know what? I'm gonna make a breakdance album, and I'm gonna fucking call it Sonic Rob's fucking spins. Sonic Rob spins, bro. I'm telling you.
I will play it. I will play it.
Not Rob Sonic. I'm gonna call it Sonic Rob's. not Rob Sonic. Sonic Rob.
You make some electronic shit, like some real electro shit, like the back in the day shit, like.
Hey, that's what I was getting at with you. I know you got it.
I definitely play that shit.
Hey, I'm not messing with you. That's why I brought that up. I know you got that secret shit you've been working on, and you got it in the back. I know you got that breakdance album that no one knows you've been working on. Don't play with me.
I got some beats. that I specifically did in that nature.
There you go.
In that realm, for sure.
Lightweight. Anytime you want to just sneak one this way, we'll play it on the back. We won't tell nobody whose it is. We'll just have it in the background before the show starts. Just we'll be like, "What is that?"
Yeah.
Don't trip.
I mean, I'll see what's happening.
Yeah, slide it. We'll play it. We won't tell nobody.
I'll keep you because you guys are very kind to have me on. So.
Oh, dude, you're a good man.
Well, we appreciate you spending your Friday with us.
If I got a little something rolling and I hear something, I'll be like, "Oh, that might be maybe a good intro for them." I hit y'all up.
Slide it.
Oh, we would love that.
Hey, Rob.
We would do that.
Hey, Rob, off the new album, Latrinalia, off Broadway, what is that sample that you use, if you don't mind revealing? What is that sample that you're using for the chorus that's in there? It sounds so familiar. It sounds
singing?
Yeah, the singing.
That's me.
Oh,
that's me and Baby Dayliner.
So good, it sounds like a sample.
So good, it sounds familiar.
I did that on purpose.
That's
awesome.
On
purpose.
That's
I tried
awesome.
to make it sound like
you've heard it before.
Yeah, that sounds so familiar.
Yeah, I definitely tried to, and I don't think I actually realized what I was trying to do because I think it's very good and it's very it's close.
Nostalgia.
I always come very close to realizing my ideas, but I never quite get there. But that record is sort of the closest I've been so far. And then the new stuff I'm getting ready, hopefully this year, to release is even closer to that.
So that's a good thing for us fans that you haven't been able to reach it yet,
crazy.
because that means you're still striving and still trying to get there. So that means we're going to still be getting a top form Rob Sonic.
We're on the tippity top, and we ain't even at the top of the mountain yet.
It's been too long, man. I feel like I'm not I don't know what happened. I don't know what's the world. I paid too much attention to everything going crazy in the world. Yeah. I'm fucking wait, I got to put out music.
Yeah.
Nah, we don't forget about
nowadays. So now with music being streamed so much, what's the best way that helps you out the most? That helps Rob Sonic out personally? What's the best way we can listen to your music or get your music or consume your art?
Not no third leg of it. We want it from you.
Oh yeah, I mean, I guess I do have a Patreon, but it's sort of like a podcast thing. But I have started recently to put out gems on that, and that's the Pizza Day Pod, which is, I don't know if y'all follow me on social media for a while.
Yeah,
Plug
do
your
some
podcast.
silly shit on there.
Plug your podcast for sure. Plug it.
It's Pizza Day Pod on Patreon. That would be the direct way. The other stuff, any other way is good. I have a Bandcamp, Sky Pimp's Music Bandcamp, and then stream. It all works. You know, it's all as long as people are talking about it with other people. You know, putting people on, like that's what I try to do when I hear music I like. I try to tell as many people as I know, and as annoying as that is.
No, that's the point. That's one of the beautiful things about music and art in general is sharing it with people and being able to be like, hey, you've never heard this, and it's exciting to be able to like to put them on.
Yeah, it is, and it's one of those things where it's fun in a sense to even get people's feedback. You know,
before you go,
because you'd be like, oh, yo, I heard this new jam. What do you think about this? And then they'd be like, oh, I don't really like that one. And I'll be like, oh, no, well, tell me why. You know?
Yeah.
Well, before you go, give us one of them little somethings that you've been listening to lately, and we'll play it on our fucking song picks of this week from you, you know?
All right. I've been listening to some the Bruiser Wolf and Danny Brown song that just came out. YBP, I think.
Okay.
We're going to play that.
That one's been bumping a lot. And I've been listening to, God, what else have I been listening to? I've been listening to so much, but I just,
we're gonna
just
put
like, well,
that's the one we'll play then for sure.
Play, you know, the Bruiser and the let's see, Def C. Y'all know who Def C is?
Def C, I don't think so.
Put us on.
Yeah, look out for this kid, Def C. He's nice. Just all of it. This kid Jesse the Tree, I think.
We've had Jesse.
You know that guy?
We've had Jesse.
We've had him on the podcast. He's a great dude. Yeah, really good dude.
Yeah, they got some. He just dropped some fly shit recently that's probably the record that I listen to, because I listen to a bunch of different songs all the time, and just whatever comes up in mind.
You know what? Now that you say that, Jesse the Tree kind of reminds me of like an early you from the some stuff. Yeah, it kind of has that kind of feel, that chill out kind of poetry delivery.
Real organic.
The one he just recently dropped and that I got on Bandcamp, it was I was impressed by that stuff, because I wasn't familiar with his work too much before that.
Our close friend Oscar Goldman mentioned that you guys may have worked on a track together recently. Did you guys kind of make some music?
Yeah.
Awesome.
I just did a verse for him, and hopefully it's good.
Hell yeah. Can't wait, bro. We love Oscar's music.
Yeah, we're huge Oscar fans.
Can't wait for that.
He always comes to the podcast.
Yeah, he's an ill dude, man. Like, he's a good dude.
Yeah, almost definitely.
Super
good
guy.
people. Good
Super
people.
good guy.
Hey, before we go, Rob Sonic was rocking a bandana before Jersey Shore was rocking a headband. Man, was that always a part of your get up, or where did you get that?
It was not. I mean, I don't have enough hair to rock that shit anymore.
Yeah.
But it just I used to have 400 or 500 of them, because it was sort of like they were like gangs and shit in the Bronx back in the day.
Yeah.
And dudes would rock those, and it was just fresh. It was just like the 80s, the late 70s, early 80s.
Yeah.
And I just started one day. I just was like, damn, I don't feel like doing anything with this crazy mop that I had at the time. It was like all curly and crazy, and I just tied it up, and Heads was like, oh, you should do that. So then I went out and had like 400 or 500 bandanas at one time.
Yeah, bro. It became your signature. It became your signature thing for a long while there.
It did. You've been around for a minute.
Well,
so that was fun. That was fun. I don't know what happened to all them shit.
You don't got 150 of them laying around somewhere?
Bro, you got to sell all those, put them together, sell the collection on eBay, Rob Sonic bandanas. Boom.
I have one custom one that was done for me by Darko Print Shop out in Albuquerque, if I remember correctly.
That's dope.
And it is one of the shirt designs that I no longer, one of the out of print shirt designs that I did, and it's the last one I have.
Yeah,
that's dope.
One more.
I used to have shoe boxes full of them, bro.
Before you go,
I would wear enough to wear every day of the year could be different for 2 years.
That's funny.
That's pretty sick. And by the time you come back around, no one ever knew you wore that one. The next
Nobody
time,
gave
you
a
got plenty. Nobody gave a shit that one. Before you go, I just want to let you know.
Everybody was like, "Who's this weirdo? Who's this weird guy? This weird 40-year-old dude running around like with his hair pulled back,
with a Dana on, killing it on. He's hurting him." Hey, but good choice on the background tonight. I like that. I just want to let you know.
I hope so, man, because I'm like, damn, it's getting dark.
I ain't fucking around. You're soaring through the galaxy right now. I like that shit.
Thank you, guys, man. I appreciate you guys having me on.
Hell yeah, we appreciate you coming on. One last thing before earlier you talked about albums, and we were talking about. Do you remember that? And you said you were drinking. Have you become sober now?
I mean, I definitely don't drink like that.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I was a party animal.
Okay.
For years. You know what I'm saying? For my early, young days in New York City and the early '90s, it was a wild time for me.
Yeah.
Okay. So you settled down
Wild
more,
city,
more than
wild
that,
area.
obviously.
Wild times.
Yes, it was. I mean, but we all were. I feel like the city, everybody was wild at that time.
Yeah, kind of went along with it back then.
Oh yeah. Cool. Yeah. Well, we appreciate you and look forward to hearing more music from you, and look forward to the new album coming out. And when it does, hopefully you could come back and we could talk about it.
Hell yeah.
You're a cool
I would love to. Yeah, thank you guys for having me again.
Thank you for coming. You're a cool motherfucker.
Yeah,
we appreciate it.
I appreciate it.
We always enjoy
Appreciate y'all. Y'all cool as fuck too, man.
Hey, thank you. We enjoy being able to talk to people that we've looked up to for a long time, and them being, normal, regular, kind of, just be able to have a conversation with them. Yeah. So we appreciate you more than you know. Thank you so much.
Hey, look, I've been, I've been around for a minute, man. It's ain't no stars. They up there.
Hell yeah.
Or they're in my background. But
Tell them.
there they are.
Yo, the honors here. You're most definitely a legend in hip hop, bro. We gotta give it up.
Yeah.
The one, the only, Rob Sonic.
Thanks, brother.
Yeah.
Have a great night, dude. Enjoy the rest of your night.
Thank you.
Peace. Have a good night.
Peace, man.
Poor little criminal, timid stockade. Rib visit isn't full digital age. Simple Simon Diamond or climb calling case. You do not pay your taxes, put you back on your base. Kings in the cake, many ate the pork rind. Like dead feather baked in the lake of poor wine. Fold what you told, hold your golden horse hide. For when the levee breaks and your makeup war cried.